Madden RPO read with those two, but it's pretty copying, you know what I'm saying, on the game. In real life, they still doing the same thing, so you know what I'm saying, it's a great duo they have back there.
I really like Jamar Chase's locker room interviews. Yeah. NFL ranks this season. Baltimore is very good at rushing the ball. Cincinnati's defense is not good at stopping it. They score a lot. Cincinnati gives up a lot, and Baltimore holds on to the ball. It's how they usually beat the Bengals, and Cincinnati does not. Do you trust Lamar or Joe Burrow more in this game?
Lamar, because he's going to win. I trust Lamar more. And he's going to win because that's what he does when they play the Bengals, particularly Joe Burrow. Here their head-to-head matchups. Lamar's won 4 out of the 5 games. They score more. He totals more yards, passing and running. Better touchdown to interception ratio or turnover ratio. Better passer rating. And, Nick, we all know, we just saw it, the Bengals' defense is bad. All right, 27th in the league in points allowed. This is the worst Bengals defense that Lamar will have faced since his rookie year. He beat him his rookie year, too. But this is the worst defense since then, 2018. So I think he's going to do his thing and have a field day. Look, I think Joe Burrow.
You think Lamar's going to have a field day, or the Ravens' running game's going to have a field day?
I think the Ravens' run game. But I think Burrow will have more yards passing.
Well, yeah.
Because he's obviously a better passer, and he's got better receivers, and they're not going to be able to run the ball. But Lamar, Henry, I think they'll run. I think Lamar will do damage with his legs, and he'll be more efficient through the air. He'll make some big throws. I'm not talking about long fly patterns, but I'm talking he'll make some big throws at timely throws, and they will win because here's the other thing, and this is both of them against winning teams. Joe Burrow, Lamar's been much better against winning teams. It's not unusual to have a losing record, even for top quarterbacks against winning teams. Look at Lamar's record. 24-16 against teams above 500. Yeah. Way better than Burrow's. His numbers overall better than Burrow's against the better teams.
Oddly, so I think Bengals are not in that category.
Yeah, but we think they're a good team. But yeah.
So it feels to me, and I'm not trying to be difficult, like your setup for this and your answer was as if the question is, which team do you trust more?
Well, the offense. Right?
Well, but I showed 2 Lamar graphics.
But your answer was, I trust Lamar because Baltimore's going to win.
Yeah.
You guys discussed how the Bengals' run defense is bad. I agree with all of that.
But part of Lamar is running.
Yes, agreed. And I think the Ravens' pass defense is equally as susceptible. To me, of the 2 quarterbacks I trust more, it's Joe Burrow, and it's not a question. Joe
overall or against the Ravens? Because he's not. We just saw his numbers. He hasn't been great against the Ravens.
So
again, great when they don't have Lamar.
So right, which is a weird math we're doing, which is when Lamar's not there, Joe Burrow's success against the Ravens defense doesn't count for some reason.
But Nick, you don't think it's about complementary football? You don't think having Lamar Jackson on the offense affects the defense?
No, of course I do. But and you just said, of course it doesn't count. I think if Joe Burrow goes out I think in this game, as a for instance, if Joe Burrow has 300 yards passing and 3 touchdowns, that is about how Joe Burrow does against the Ravens defense, not about Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, but the fact that he can only beat the Ravens when Lamar Jackson isn't there is an important data point.
Yes, of course it's an important data point about the teams. About the teams. If the question is, who do I trust more Sunday? Who am I more confident that Sunday is going to play a very well or great? It's Joe Burrow. Because Joe Burrow, since week 1, has been the best quarterback arguably in football, certainly in the AFC. Joe Burrow, if we look at over the course of their careers, post Joe Burrow's rookie year, in 2021, Burrow was excellent. Lamar was mediocre and hurt. And when I say it wasn't just that he was hurt, that year he had 18 touchdowns and 15 turnovers. In 2022, Joe Burrow was excellent. Lamar was mediocre and hurt. In 2023, Lamar was excellent. Joe was mediocre and hurt. And this year, in my opinion, both have played great, and both teams are a little underwhelming given their expectations. That's how I look at it. I think that, and I know you throw the MVP, which is legitimate, from last year, but I think you'll agree with me on this, Brew. Like, the year Joe Burrow had in 2022, when he came in 4th in MVP, we can show those numbers compared to Lamar's. If he had an equivalent season at the very least equivalent to Lamar's MVP year. But as you said, throughout last year was a weird year because nobody had jumped out and had those amazing numbers.
Sure.
So I think we have seen them have similar regular season peaks since Joe Burrow's been in the league. I think the highest any of them have ever gotten was Lamar's first year as a starter when Joe was at LSU. And I just think Joe Burrow on a game-to-game basis is a more consistent, better player. I trust him more. And the part of this that to me is the most interesting part of it is it's a 2.5-point line the Ravens are favored. I don't think any of us feel like it's an impossibility for Cincinnati to win this game, right?
Oh, I agree.
So what if Cincinnati wins? How do we square what you, and not just you, a lot of people have been pushing about, here is why Joe Burrow's overrated and Lamar's underrated. If it's been about doesn't win enough, can't beat Lamar, and we all agree the Ravens right now have the more complete football team. If Joe Burrow goes out there on a team that can only win through him passing the football with a bad defense that can't stop the run and wins that game, and the Ravens are all of a sudden 2-3, same with the Bengals we wrote off for dead, what does that do to the narrative that I think a lot of people have been pushing, which is Joe Burrow is falsely elevated and Lamar Jackson is falsely or unfairly maligned, so to speak?
I don't know. There's too many
It's not a lot of hypotheticals. The Bengals win.
It'll be one regular season.
If the Bengals win, is a different story than if Joe Burrow throws it. So why wouldn't I be able to just flip it on you? Like, well, you know what? The Ravens' pass defense wasn't able to slow down Joe Burrow. Well, if Lamar wins, it's going to be because the Bengals' defense was so good, so poor. But if Joe Burrow wins, it has to be, Joe Burrow.
No, I don't think that at all.
That's what's going to happen on Monday.
Where is this world that Lamar Jackson doesn't get credit? I'm just curious that the reigning MVP of the league doesn't get credit.
You're sitting here trying to say, now Burrow is great, and a lot of people think he's better than Lamar. He's clearly a better passer than Lamar.
Yeah.
But you can't sit here and you just did say they've essentially had the same types of regular season careers. Lamar's got 2 MVPs, 1 unanimous. Joe Burrow's made 1 Pro Bowl.
No, what I said is I think since Joe Burrow's rookie season, which is the last 4 years, they have been equivalent level players. We showed you the numbers yesterday of them over the last 4 years.
Lamar's won an MVP.
Lamar's won an MVP.
And Joe Burrow's made 1 Pro Bowl.
Lamar has won an MVP. Joe Burrow has had statistically 2 A-plus regular seasons. Lamar's had 1. In the playoffs, Joe's clearly been better. Their careers, Lamar has been better because he had the head start, and his best year of his career was 2019. But over the last 4 years, I don't think Lamar's been better than Joe Burrow. And I also don't think there is this. It seems like you're saying the narrative around the Ravens is everyone gets credit but Lamar.
I'm not saying that. I was trying to answer your question that threw me into a pretzel. I got lost on it. I'm saying if Joe Burrow wins, we'll give him credit. If Joe Burrow plays awesome and wins,
I don't think
that'd be great.
I don't think it'll be this grand statement on their careers. If the Ravens lose, they lose. If the Bengals win, they win. But like you were saying, the Ravens definitively have a better team. I think so, but I don't know that that's definitive to most people because the Bengals don't have a good defense. You're not sure the Ravens have a good defense.
No, I think the Bengals have a terrible defense.
Okay,
but you're right
not certain on the Ravens defense. And the Bengals clearly have the better receivers. It's not even close. And the Ravens have the better run game. And quarterbacks are both great quarterbacks. Like, I don't think it would be, if you were trying to put it this way, Burrow leading a wildly inferior team
it's not wildly
to victory over
It's that
Lamar.
I think the Bengals have one way to win this game. And it's the way, what we have seen from them this year, Joe Burrow has to be exceptional, and the passing game has to be exceptional because the defense is downright awful. You're right. I think the Ravens defense is not what it was last year, but I don't think it's an awful defense. The Bengals defense up to this point in the year has been awful, and they don't have a running game, and to me, the offensive lines are equivalent. It has to be done through Joe Burrow and Joe Burrow only. It seems like even the biggest Ravens supporters want it to be a Derrick Henry-led attack. And so that's when it's just what it is.
Here's what's going to happen on Monday. This is what I think is going to happen, and it will be the fuel for the argument. Lamar will have maybe 100-something yards through the air,
80-something yards on the ground. They hand the ball off a ton. They score first. They get the lead. They drain the clock. Joe Burrow will have, still do well, but the Ravens will keep scoring. And at the end of the game, all of Joe Burrow's numbers will look better than all of Lamar's numbers, and Joe Burrow will be 1-4, and Lamar will be 3-2. That's what I think is going to happen. And then we can make the argument, hey, not Joe Burrow's fault. Joe Burrow's playing great. Lamar wins. That's what I think is going to happen. And you can say that maybe Lamar didn't do enough. Lamar plays winning football, and that's why he's won more games than Joe Burrow this year. Joe Burrow barely just beat the Carolina Panthers. Okay, I don't think these teams are on equal standing.
Okay. All right, I agree with you halfway, which is if it's a game like the Washington game where the Bengals score every time they get the ball, you're right. I don't think people will be like, Joe Burrow didn't do enough. Yeah. But I also think that these teams, the reason I mentioned what I said before that seemed, maybe I phrased it poorly, these teams have been looked at as, and the narrative was, Joe Burrow is living off that one win against Patrick Mahomes. Meanwhile, Lamar is wildly disrespected for what he has done and continues to do, and we are a field goal spread away from through 5 weeks of this season, where Joe Burrow's team was left for dead by many, and we're talking about Lamar. They've got the most dominant rushing attack in modern NFL, that actually the Bengals are better than the Ravens. And that, to me, will be about what Joe Burrow is able to do.
So if the Bengals win this game, that means they're better than the Ravens?
I mean, I thought the Bengals were better than the Ravens from before the year, right now, moving forward, because of what I believe Joe Burrow can do. Because of what I believe that passing attack can do. I think they're going to win this weekend. I think they are the better team.
6-8 in his last year and a half of starts.
Yes.
6-8.
Yeah. So. He was bad last year. He was more mediocre and hurt last year.